Here we go. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome back for another week of KBBU Behind the Scenes. My name is Michelle Green, and I am the founder of Kingdom Builders Business University. What we do is we have entrepreneurs in a undergraduate class that has just finished just a few minutes ago, literally, and we come in and talk to you about what goes on in our classes and just give you a little bit of tips about being an entrepreneur, because that's what we specialize in, being an entrepreneur, business owners in the house. So we got Mr. Carl, we got Dr. Tina, we have Preston, we have Yoshi, aka Martino, and we have our newest coach, Mr. Cornell. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hey there.
Now, I'm talking tonight, so I'm going to let y'all talk tonight because I'm out of breath. Who want to go first?
I will.
Awesome. Let's go.
All right, so I couldn't wait to say this part right here. I remember in the beginning part, you was talking about in the scriptures, my favorite thing, sister. You brought up, you was like, the fruitful and be multiple. There was one verse you was saying, you said, we don't rule over nobody, but you know what I'm saying? I do to make believe that our queens, our wives are our ribs, but the scripture tells you that king got at home, you know what I'm saying? After Eve bit that fruit. Now, the beginning part where you was right now, but as you read on a little bit down on them verses a little bit more, when Eve ate that fruit, he says one of the things that she got to do is he got to rule over that. Now, I ain't trying to cause no trouble, no harm, and I don't want no problem with none of y'all, but you are Dr. Tina. But what I'm just saying is that Papa did say that that we rule over the home on the homestead.
Come on back with that one now. I got something to say on that. So basically, what that means is that we will want the man's position. We will want to be able to run the show, but everybody has their own position in the kingdom. We all have, as men and women, we have different roles that we play, different things that we bring to the table, and they are equal. They are equal. I believe that. Now, I'm not saying that we ain't supposed to submit to the man. Now, I do believe that we are supposed to submit. Let me just go ahead and put that out there, because my husband is in the other room, and he probably would be like, oh, you know what we don't.
Is it me or is everybody cutting out?
I don't know, Mr. Carl. Y'all hear me okay?
I hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. But if you're watching us for the first time, we just talked about tonight, we talked about government, we talked about sovereignty, being a ruler as an entrepreneur. We talked about our territories. We also spoke about government. And these are all things that we don't really relate to business, but we teach them at KBBU. So listen. I hear you, Yoshi.
No, I just like, I just couldn't wait to throw that scripture in, but I know you was on the road, so I wasn't gonna mess with you and take you on there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I like the little. I already know you know your word, and I already know you know your order. You give your husband many props many times, but I had to pull your coattail because we didn't get to talk today. But but man, one of the biggest thing is I took out of today's class though about this is that, like, talking to foundation. One thing, like Mr. Carl said, like basically other than anarchy, really all of them is pretty just almost basically the same when it comes into the ruler type of rulership. And to me, I feel like what makes the difference in that rulership is the person that's ruling. So like even with communism and stuff like that, with the if you have a right type of system set up, it can work out beautiful. Even with kingship, with, you know what I'm saying, with monarchy, if you have the right king in place, as when David was in place, you know what I'm saying, the kingdom had peace. When Solomon came in, because of his ways and, you know what I'm saying, his mind was pulled from because of the Pharaoh's daughter and everything, ended up dividing up the kingdom and getting into trouble. So, you know, so each position, it all goes down to basically the same thing, of the same arithmetic, is that what foundation do you have, what laws and what government do you have in place, and are you following those? The majority of the times when things become anarchy is because it's when a person or individual or group decide that the laws and the foundation that they built a business on, or built a kingdom on, or built their livelihood on, their marriage on, the rules don't apply to them no more. You know, and then when them rules don't, you feel like them rules and them things don't apply, it breaks everything down. Every great civilization that came together because they had a foundation, they had an organization put together. If you look at the first three civilizations of the Indians, the Aztecs, the Mayas, and the Incas, the reason why their civilization was able to go to the different levels because they became in an organization and they were able to put together a monarchy or communism or a foundation. They had government, they had rulers, they had everything on it. Where most of the other nations and everything of the other tribes or anything, they were just living by he say, she go, or we just live off freely. Which you look at the freely part, it's fun, it's great. That's good for mom and pop business. But once you want to go corporate and you want to go to different levels and you want to go to different business, you gotta bring a structure. You gotta have a kingdom building type of mindset. You gotta go into government. You gotta have checks and balances. You gotta have all of that. It's easy for it to just to flow free when you're selling out of your garage. But when you have a retail store, if you don't have things set up, if you don't want to go, so to me, it was about the mindset of how big a business and how things it goes. Like every great successful thing, kingdom, government, even like villages and anything, it all got big. It gets bigger. It gets better once you put the laws and the work organization into place.
But actually, even with a mom and pop store, you still got to have a system in place in order to keep that money rolling in. So
Facts. That's true too. Even with that, like you say, because it's only gonna last for so long. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we can't, because you can't go off of the bottom. So that's when I looked at it, like you look at everything in life, like you say, it goes through a point of civilization to advance to the next level, which they call being caveman type status to being primitive to moving forward. What separated them and what even from the animals or whatever and thing, what separates us from them and everything is the way that we can be able to communicate across land. Like the Planet of the Apes movie. You watch the new Planet of the Apes movie. Like, the thing they were trying to do was get into that dam.
I know, I'm trying to.
So he can talk across the seas. So he was like, we can communicate across this. We can do this. We can do that. He was trying to get in there so they can advance their government site system to the way that the human used to have their government system built up.
Wow. But the bottom line is, in order to evolve, you have to grow, and in order to grow, you have to have a system to grow. Right. If you don't have a system,
Mr. Carl hit it on the head. Everybody, it's like every business has almost that same foundation. It's the capacity that makes them different.
Right.
From the mom and pop shop all the way to the multi-million-dollar platforms, the capacity of their business is the same. You gotta have your starting point. You gotta have your strong foundation. It's the growth, like you said, it's that expansion. That's what differs with all of them. And it's like, their drive, their tenacity, their ambition. Those are the things that differentiates one from the other.
Yes. I love it. Hey, DeJarvis, thank you for watching. Thank you, everyone that's watching out there. Listen, we are talking about the structure of a business. When we think about our business, we really don't think about the vowels too much. We don't think about the articles of creating a constitution together, our handbooks. We don't really think about that. We don't feel like that's important. We just kind of get into it and we just think about, we just got to make money and we got to be able to have clientele. But the root of a successful company, like y'all are saying, is the foundation. And the foundation has to be, how do you govern that business? What is the system that is in place? What is your structure? What is your 1, 2, 3? What is your SOP? What is your standard operating procedure, as they call it? So if we don't have any of that in place, then what happens is we just tend to be like, okay, I'm trying to figure out why my business ain't growing. What's really going on with it? Like, I don't understand. But I'm telling you, that is the key. That is the key.
Michelle, my example that I use every year.
What's
Chick-fil-A.
that?
Chick-fil-A.
That's right. Go ahead, Ms. Carl.
Chick-fil-A, for a company that only opens 6 days a week, they still outsell everybody to open 7 days a week, 24/7. Yes. I mean, it's because of the system they have in place, for one, their morals, their ethics, and because they are not open on Sunday, they respect God, the Sabbath day. Amen. That is why they are still successful.
That is so true. I love it.
and their chicken got a 2-parent home. You know,
See,
unlike
you know what?
I'm sitting here talking and I'm on mute. Oh my God. No, but Mr. Carl said they have a platform, they have a foundation, and they stick to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't change with the wind, you know. They don't hear like, why y'all not open on Sunday? Okay, we're open on Sunday. No, they stick to what they do. You know.
They've been like that since they opened.
Why did Christ come back? Why did Christ come? He says, I didn't come to destroy the law, but fulfill it. He came against the Pharisees and such things because he said, your mouth praise Father, but your hearts follow after man's ways of tradition. Woo! They changed the ways of tradition of men's traditions of what I think or how I feel, or it should be this way better, you know what I'm saying, override with the laws and the foundation it came. So he came back to put everything in place. That's why he was giving it to them. He was hitting them in their throat and stepping on their toes to remind them, like, this is the way he said it for a reason. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people look at it like, oh, the law was void and failed. No, it wasn't that the law failed man, it was man failed the law. You know what I mean? So, and that's where it was all about until the situation, because once we start forgetting our foundation, our solid rock, what our laws, our rules are, that's our protection and everything. We don't have no more guidance no more. Now it's just a free fall. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe think about that movie Talladega Nights when they was at the kitchen table and they was all about to say the prayer, and they all had their own version of Christ. Like I think I'm still as a baby. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was chaos. That's like, if you look at that prayer was chaos, because why? It was no order. Everything's done in decency and order. And the word says obedience is greater than sacrifice. So if your obedience is not good, if you're not obedient to the foundation of things you get, it doesn't matter about the hours you sacrifice. It doesn't matter about the money you sacrifice. It doesn't matter about anything that you sacrifice to build that business, because all your sacrifice going to come void because your obedience to your own foundation wasn't in place. If you can't be obedient to the lines and the laws that you set up to your own walls and your own rules and regulation, how do you feel anything else going to go? If the Messiah came and lived any way that he wanted to, well, his sacrifice would have mattered. You know what I'm saying? They say he was the lamb without spot, without blemish, because he came and lived a certain way. So the obedience will always outweigh the sacrifice.
That's right. That's right. That's it right there. Dr. Tina, you have something that you want to share tonight that you took away from class?
Well, like Coach Carl, we both have things that we consistently say. And so my thing that I consistently say is Ecclesiastes 1:9, where it's not anything new up under the sun. So when we think about ourselves as a CEO of our businesses, we should never feel as a CEO, and most business people, or I would say small business owners, they have a small mind. And I know I'm stepping on some toes when I'm saying you got a small mind. But let me explain what I'm saying. Some CEOs, they want to feel like they want to know everything, hold all the information, and be so high, so superior over the people who beneath them that they don't want to allow their members or people who with them room to grow. In order for a business to have a strong foundation, to be able to expand beyond you and to be able to last for generations to come, even when you're no longer here, is for you to be able to duplicate yourself.
Woo!
So how many times can you duplicate yourself? I duplicate myself hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. My measure of success is not necessarily only based upon how well I do, but most importantly, how well the people around me that I am helping and my company is helping is doing. So what I love about this is that this particular part of the class is that it helps you get the similarities between what we know, which is government, what we see, and the correlation with how it matches with the kingdom and how that kingdom reflects the operational of our family and then turn around and reflect the operation of our business structure. So if you see that you're having more chaos than balance, then you need to try to figure out where are the loopholes, where are the problems, and you need to fix them. Because if you don't fix them, you will never reach the level that you're supposed to reach. You will either stay at that same level or you will phase out. And you do not need to phase out, and you do not need to stay at the same level. So it takes some humility. It takes some humility on that. So you can't think too much of yourself than necessary. I'm not saying have low self-esteem, but I'm not saying get so lofty that you think you all of that and everything.
Hey, but
Because so I'm just saying that I love this part because it finally clicked with me, the operational of how the government correlates. I never saw how the government benefited me. It was something that, along with taxes, that I was like, oh, I don't even want that. I don't want to. It applied to me only when it's time for me to pay for my business taxes, but I don't really understand it, right? Well, now I understand it. Now I understand how it benefits. Now I understand the namesake. Now I understand how you can build true legacy. So once you get to this part in KBBU and it clicks, the light comes on, you'll be able to really, where people keep saying the cliche slogan or statement, go to the next level, baby, you will be able to officially go to the next level once you make it here and do the things to execute this piece of KBBU, because my life has never been the same since this week right here. Okay. So, but anyway, you guys, y'all gonna have to, like I said, I know I'm talking monotone, but honey, I'm battling a migraine, but I ain't about to let that migraine stop me, because y'all need to hear this, and you need to hear it, and you need to do the work.
I love
Now, all I have is one question for everybody watch. Why try to reinvent the wheel when you already have a perfect blueprint already there that God has given us? He's given us a blueprint for government. He's given us a blueprint for business. He's given us a blueprint for life. All we have to do is follow it. And you have to know it to follow it. So take heed to what you're hearing and learning and just follow the blueprint.
Woo, loved it.
Mr. Carl, they try to reinvent the wheel because they think they know so much, and that ain't how they roll. See?
Right. You know.
No, I'll give you a big example. I used to tell my older daughter, she's trying to run circles around me, and I'm sitting there watching her get dizzy. Like, what is she doing? You know? When she get done and she fall, I'm just gonna go over there and pick up the piece and now go do what I said. You know, that's the gist of it. You know, sometimes you gotta let them. What I tell people, if you're drowning and I'm trying to jump in and help you, and you want to fight me, I'm gonna let you drink 2 good mouthfuls and come to your senses, and then I'm gonna get you out.
2 good mouthfuls, Preston.
Mm-hmm. I'll let that panic set in. You know, your eyes get big. Oh, now you paying attention. Come on, let's go.
All right. All right. Anybody else want to say anything?
Well, yeah, I like the way, like so what Dr. Tina was saying, like with duplication and they and connecting to piggyback off of her and Mr. Carla Preston all together. Like, to me, I feel like that's the reason why we have so many different denominations as it is, because like a lot of times we like to think that we know something better, know something greater, and instead of just keeping it OG with the way the thing's gonna be. Like, I can't come to Chick-fil-A, open up a Chick-fil-A franchise, but like, you know what, we gonna be the only one open up on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that they doing it, but we gonna be open up on Sunday and we gonna have chicken legs too. Like, if that was the purpose, then why did you even want to open a Chick-fil-A? Like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody comes to Chick-fil-A for no chicken leg. We want chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? So like, the thing about it is keep it, you know what I'm saying? Keep it short, keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? And keep it what it is. Like, so, and like I say, once we learn our mores, we learn our foundation, and we learn that our rules is to protect us. That's the biggest thing we gotta understand. Because we started talking about taxes last week. You know what I'm saying? So once we learn, it ain't just our rules, it's the government rules. One, like, we got to understand this language. Like you was talking about the Tower of Babel. Because, like, you know what I'm saying? We all speak in one language when we first say we want to be entrepreneur. But then we start building up, getting higher off that ground against success. You look to that person beside, they start speaking Portuguese. You look into that person to the right, they speaking Spanish. You like, oh, what's going on? Like, the languages change real quick because It's higher success. The more you learn, the more you got to know. Now you got to understand the taxes. Now you got to understand, you know what I'm saying, how to pay Uncle Sam, how to pay your employees, and how to govern it, everything out of your business. And like that stuff, it gets real change. It changes everything in the lifestyle part of it. So, like you say, if you keep the rules, keep the laws, and understand, knowing that it's for you. I think a lot of people get scared of putting rules and foundation and putting everything on there, but you never know. That's especially if you're a nonprofit, because if you don't set the certain rules and set that foundation right, somebody could take your business. They'll vote you off your own board, and you created that company, and you made that company, created that company. Now you got to watch your company on Fortune 500 at home. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't have your wall set up right. You didn't have your foundation set right.
That's such a good point, Martino. And I was thinking about, not just with business, but also in our relationships, especially if we look at the relationship of marriage and we think about the marriage constitution. Oh, we're so happy to get married. We're so happy to come together. Oh, I love him so much. Oh, I love her so much. Okay, and not even understanding like the principal foundation of a marriage. What is the purpose of a marriage? Why are two people coming together to build a what institution of marriage? Right. So even with that, we are looking at, bringing together two individuals with two different ways of governing, two different ways in which they were brought up, two different households that they came from, two different backgrounds that they came from. We're bringing that together, and we're going to create a brand new constitution, because the word talks about how the man would leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife in marriage. So when that happens, do we really consider the constitution of the new family that has been erected from the old families that the two people came from? And then when we sign that marriage license and we are like, okay, this is now official, or we have that beautiful wedding and everybody's happy, everybody participated, and all this money been spent. But then what are the vows are in the relationship? Is it just that these were vows that we spoke when we got married and we didn't really understand what they meant? Is it just that we didn't have no vows? We just kind of like thought of whatever we believed in our mind of what marriage was supposed to be like, and then end up, where the marriage is just like, oh, well, wait a minute now, I didn't go by that. That's a no tolerance for me. That's a no tolerance for him. We didn't even ask each other, like, what are your rules and regulations in your household? Like, how do you feel like this new relationship that we are bringing together, how is it supposed to function? And how does it function from both lives that are coming together? Not just one life, because most of the time we get married, we think that we really just married, and we're single people that are married, and we think that the other person got to cater to what it is that we are doing or what we believe in. And I know some people out there looking like, wait a minute. I look at y'all faces.
No, I'm sitting here laughing. Because I've been married twice, so I didn't have a Constitution, a Magna Carta. I didn't have a memorandum of understanding, Yeah, I'm relating to you.
What you think a prenup is? Somebody.
Yeah, I know, right?
Whole family laws and regulations. That's basically what it is, a prenup. Making sure that you don't get my money if you don't stay in this thing, if you don't abide by the Constitution that I'm establishing for this. That's basically what that is. So I think that we really need to consider, like, what are our vows? What are the things that we're creating these governing rules and regulations for, not just our personal life, our family life, or our business life, for every part of our lives? There is a governing system in place. And I think that we really need to pay attention to, how we are operating ourselves.
And I think that goes with marriage and even with parenting, with that part, what you're saying, because a lot of times we compromise and let certain things go instead of laying the law of how we really feel about a situation. Like a lot of times when I counsel married people and I counsel couples and stuff, like I have to be real with that man and be like, because at that moment he's at the breaking point. But I'm like, but you allow that. You're supposed to have been leading, but but you created that monster because you would let that monster go. You didn't from day one put your foot down, but you expecting to break something. Now you trying to break and bend back something to a different shape that had already been wielded this way. And like, so it goes even with the children and everything with chaos stuff. Like, if we don't put the laws and put the orders and put structure into the beginning of that part, then we form and create a monster and stuff. And then when it grows up and it blows up in our face, then we want to play victim. Like, we idolize Will and Jada for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, look how free spirit they are and all of that stuff. Now Will got a mean crime because entanglement of August. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once it developed into a point that you let that wildfire, you never contained that fire because you never put up borders around that situation. You never had up the walls and stuff like you. So once, like I say again, why change something that's already put into place? You know what I'm saying? Like, we supposed to be ambassadors of the Father, you know what I'm saying, as we putting into the ruling of our government. So the government is already set in place. We supposed to go out into the world and then establish the government that he set for us, from parenting, from marriage, from business, from all of that. All of everything is putting out in simple form for us. It's our job to go plant that seed and water that tree and watch it grow, and so we can feed other nations so they can see as well and change to it.
I love it. I love it. It is so important for us to understand the government. It is so important for us to understand the territories that we're ruling over and how we can implement the word of God and how we can implement his kingdom way of doing things. The reason why Satan got kicked out of heaven is because he didn't want to follow the rules, right? And the same thing with Adam and Eve. The reason why the fact that they broke the laws, they broke the rules that were already established. So we just got to understand that, you know, either we're on one side of the track or we're the other, and we really don't have a middle ground like most of us think we are in the middle somewhere, where I'm not bad, I don't do this and I don't do that, but I'm also not like a holy roller, I guess some people would say. You know, I believe in God, I trust him, I believe him. But do we really surrender to his will? Do we really surrender to the things that he has put in place for us to live by? And we have to understand that things that God did to put boundaries in place was really for protection. It was not to hurt us in any form.
Thanks.
All right. Well, with that being said, does anybody else got anything to say? If not,
Mr. Cornell got his hand up.
Oh, Mr. Cornell, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Finally. Okay. When God gives you a business to run, you know, sometimes our head swells because we're in charge. Well, to be it may, God is still running it. I mean, Jesus is still running it. You know what I'm saying? Just like my dad used to say, some people, you know, get too big for their pants.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm not a Bible scholar or anything like that, but I do just want to say something about a little bit about what I'm talking about. You know, sometimes people forget because they see all this stuff they see what they're doing, you know, and they ain't putting God first. Okay, just like the Bible scripture, Peter, I don't know the scripture, but Peter got out that boat, you know, and he walked by faith. Yeah. And he was walking, getting his walk on, had his eye on God. As soon as he took his eye off God, he started to sink.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't forget about God is still running. It's not all about you. Also, I want to talk a little bit about this invisible realm. This invisible realm is one of the things you must have in order to run your business successfully, because that invisible realm is going to get you what you want. Now, that invisible realm, yeah, that's good, but that invisible realm is going to get you out there. You know, a lot more people going to see you. A lot of more people going to find out what you do. You know, so that invisible realm is important to me. You just can't have bits and pieces of. You got to have everything. Like the EIN, a lot of people believe in the EIN. They don't believe in all that other stuff you have to get with it. LLCs. Some people just have LLCs and think they're doing something. They ain't doing nothing. You got to get everything. Just like Michelle teaches us, we got to go get it all. So we be prepared for it all. So we won't get turned around and say, hey, you don't have this, you don't have that. You ready to eat right now. You ready to get out there and start scratching using your claws on things. But if you don't have everything that you need, everything that Michelle's been pushing out to us, the not only the LLC, the EIN, the articles and all that good stuff, you got to have all of that in order to get what you want out there. And those are the things that stuck out to me.
Thank you, Cornell. That's good. And when he says invisible realm, I know some of y'all like, what is he talking about? We talk about the things that you need for a business in digital space, in cyberspace.
Yes.
Things that he's referring to, and they are very important. They're as important because when we think about the word of God, it first starts in the invisible realm, and then the things that are invisible are more real than the things that we can see. The things are visible. So what things do we need to do in order for us to present ourselves in social media, in a website? Those are the kind of things that we talk about at KBBU. So if you are an entrepreneur or you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, listen, you need to go to www.kbbulllc.com. Go ahead and sign up right now for our private sessions, because the undergraduate class that we're doing the behind the scenes on right now is no longer open. So we are closed. We are set. We've done about 5 classes so far, right, guys? And within those 5 classes that we have done, we don't have the ability, we don't have the capacity to let somebody try to come in and catch up on all of this material, because we cover a lot of material every single week about entrepreneurship, things that you need, things that you may know, and things that you may not have ever heard of before. Like we talked about the industry codes and different things like that. I know somebody out there is going to be like, what's an industry code? So you come to KBBU and you can find out. Okay. So, but listen, if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, or maybe you are an entrepreneur already, you've been in business for a little while, a long time, doesn't matter. Listen, you can get into our private sessions right now. They are individual private sessions, are only $750. That's for this year. Now, I don't know about next year. They might change. And you have the opportunity to set up a payment plan. How about it? How about that? I mean, who else is out there going for that cheap on a private individual session? You will get me personally to help you with your business, take it to 6 and 7 figures. Like, who does that, right? Only the people who, when God is leading, only those people, that's who do it. But anywho, if you're interested, go to the website, www.kbbulllc.com. And if you know somebody who needs this information, go ahead and tell them that they need to register. And the students that are already in the classes, make sure that you are sharing this video and other videos with your family and friends, with your colleagues, because we know that at some point in time, we're going to get to a point where we want more income. We want to do better in our life. We don't always want to work for someone else. And there's nothing wrong with working for someone else, but we need to get to a point in life. Most of us are going to get to a point in life where we want more. So make sure that you're letting other people know about who KBBU is. Share, listen in, go to any of our social media sites. It's kb.michellegreen everywhere. We're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Threads. We're everywhere. So go ahead and connect with us. Check out our Spotify podcast on the CTR Media Network. Hello, Dr. Tina in the house. Hey, that's her company. All right. And listen, we would love to connect and collaborate with you. Let us know what you think about our videos. Let us know what you think about our messages. We're just trying to share the wealth. Well, that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to help other entrepreneurs do business the kingdom way. But that's all we have for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for listening, watching in. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Whoop, whoop.